Good morning. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi begins a tour of 4 Asian countries today, starting in Singapore.
A wildfire in Northern California is blazing out of control. The McKinney fire is now the largest California wildfire this season.
One of the NBA's greatest winners passes away. Bill Russell, anchor of the Celtics team that won 11 championships, and the league's first black coach, died at the age of 88 on Sunday.
PGA Golf's competitor Live Golf is promising big money for competitors willing to join the league. The Sunday's payout did not disappoint. Good morning. Welcome to NTD. I'm Kevin Hogan.
Good morning, and I'm Evelyn Lee. We're starting into a new month on a Monday. It's the 1st of August. And also this Monday morning, Speaker Nancy Pelosi and several other Congress members are visiting Singapore today. It's their first official stop in a high-profile Asia tour. The trip is attracting international attention over speculation whether or not Pelosi will visit Taiwan. Pelosi's office announced that she would be leading a congressional delegation to Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, and Japan. It made no mention of Taiwan. The delegation met with Singapore's Prime Minister and President today. Taiwan Premier Su Tseng-chang did not directly respond when asked if Pelosi will visit on Thursday. The Chinese Communist Party claims Taiwan as part of its territory despite never having controlled it. The regime has repeatedly warned against Pelosi visiting the island and threatened to use military force. A former editor-in-chief of the CCP's Mouthpiece said that Beijing could shoot down Pelosi's plane if it's accompanied by U.S. military aircraft during the visit. American officials say if Pelosi goes to Taiwan, the military will increase its movement of forces and assets in the Indo-Pacific region. They declined to provide details, but say fighter jets, ships, surveillance assets, and other military systems would likely be used to protect her.
Now a quick recap of what happened over the weekend. President Biden tested positive for COVID-19 again on Saturday. The White House physician says it is likely a rebound case. Biden says he is not experiencing any symptoms.
Hey folks, Joe Biden here. Tested positive this morning. Going to be working from home for the next couple of days. And I'm feeling fine. Everything's good. But Command and I got a little work to do.
Biden tested positive on July 21st and was cleared after testing negative for 4 days. Biden is fully vaccinated with the 2-dose Pfizer vaccine. He's also gotten 2 boosters. The president has been taking Paxlovid for treatment. He will isolate at the White House for at least 5 days. And out west, a wildfire in Northern California is burning out of control, destroying homes and forcing around 2,000 people to evacuate. The McKinney fire in the Klamath National Forest started Friday. Wind and lightning from thunderstorms over the weekend added to the blaze, making it even more difficult for firefighters. It's now the largest California wildfire this year. California Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency on Saturday. Officials say the fire is 0% contained. The blaze grew to an estimated 80 square miles on Sunday. It's burned over 51,000 acres so far. The American Red Cross set up an evacuation shelter at a community center in the nearby town of Weed. Residents at the shelter have been given food and a place to sleep. Around 24 evacuees have taken shelter there so far, but volunteers say they expect more to come.
But when I saw it coming over from the community center, and I just saw it explode in the dark, I knew the house was gone. I'm very sad. My house is gone, all my furniture, all my clothes.
Yeah, we got out before the fires. Actually, they gave us a red flag to get out.
There have been looks more than words, and the looks have been hopeless, actually, which is very sad.
This is the second major California wildfire this season.
Yes, and the Oak Fire near Yosemite National Park started a little over a week ago, displacing thousands. That fire is now 60% contained.
And on the other side of the weather spectrum, severe flooding claims the lives of over 24 people in eastern Kentucky. At least 28 people, including 4 children, died during the recent flooding in Kentucky. The state's governor, Andy Beshear, declared a state of emergency on Thursday. He says the disaster is one of the most devastating flooding events in Kentucky's history. NTD Jeremy Sandberg tells us more.
Search and rescue operations continue. Officials say 37 people were unaccounted for on Sunday. Torrential rain washed out roads and pushed rivers over their banks. Water swept through people's homes.
It took about 5 minutes for that to happen, 5 to 6 minutes, and it was gone from the time I got out of the house.
Governor Andy Bashir says authorities expect to continue finding bodies for weeks.
We do know of additional bodies that have been recovered, but we cannot confirm those deaths at this time.
Damage to critical infrastructure and more heavy rain is making relief efforts difficult. Bashir says entire water systems have been knocked out, and it's been hard to get supplies to people. A dozen shelters opened for flood victims with close to 400 occupants taking refuge.
We have hundreds of millions of dollars of damage, hundreds of people displaced, but we are moving and moving fast.
Hundreds of people have been rescued by boat and by air, including by the National Guard. The floods are Kentucky's second major national disaster in 7 months. Tornadoes in the western part of the state claimed the lives of nearly 80 people in December. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
New York City has declared monkeypox a public health emergency. New measures will now be put in place to help slow the spread of the virus.
Mayor Eric Adams and the head of the city's health department on Saturday issued a statement that said New York City was the epicenter of the outbreak and that approximately 150,000 residents may currently be at risk of exposure. The declaration, which came into effect immediately, will allow the health department to issue emergency orders under the New York City Health Code. New York City's declaration came just 1 day after the state's governor declared monkeypox a state disaster emergency. In a tweet, Governor Kathy Hochul said the executive order would enable a quicker response to the outbreak and allow for additional steps to get more people vaccinated. At the end of last week, the New York Health Department's website tracked 1,383 confirmed cases in the state.
And former Boston Celtics star Bill Russell died on Sunday at the age of 88. Russell was one of sport's greatest winners as the anchor of a team that won 11 NBA championships. He was also the league's first black coach.
A statement posted to his Twitter account said he passed away peacefully with his wife Janine by his side. Magic Johnson tweeted he was, quote, heartbroken to learn of Russell's death. It is hard to understate Russell's impact on the sport and its players. Here's how NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar described Russell ahead of an awards ceremony in 2017.
Well, he's one of my heroes, someone who helped me learn the game. If I hadn't had the opportunity to watch him, I wouldn't have learned how to play the game as well as I did. So I feel that I owe him a lot.
Russell became a superstar in the 1950s and 60s, not with flashy scoring plays, but through dominating rebounding and intense defensive play that reshaped the game. The Celtics won 11 NBA titles in Russell's 13 years with the team from 1956 through 1969. Russell had a famous but friendly rivalry with fellow athlete Wilt Chamberlain. In 1965, Chamberlain became the first NBA player to earn a $100,000 annual salary. So Russell demanded and got a contract from the Celtics that paid him $100,001. After retiring from play, Russell returned to basketball as a general manager and coach of the Seattle Supersonics, later as a coach of the Sacramento Kings.
And beachgoers, listen up. Banana Boat's hair and scalp sunscreen is being recalled after tests detected trace levels of the carcinogen benzene. Edgewell Personal Care Company, which makes the sunscreen, says the recall applies to 3 batches of their SPF 30 spray. They have expiration dates of December 2022, February 2023, or April 2024. No other batches of hair and scalp sunscreen before or after those expiration dates were were affected by the recall. Retailers and consumers can dispose of the product and ask for a refund. More information can be found on the web at bananaboat.com. Party infiltration in Canada and other countries. Find out how it's happening and what can be done about it right here after the break.
At The Nation Speaks, we don't just scratch the surface. We want to go wide and deep. our viewers come away with a much richer understanding of the issues of the day. We really make a big effort to bring on different voices onto the show. We don't just talk to experts and newsmakers, which of course are extremely important, but we also want to hear from the American people. So the people who are impacted by the policies and issues that we're talking about, because what they have to say is just as important to the national conversation.
Navigating a world of economic madness, you need to have the right guide. What do today's decisions mean for your tomorrow? We ask why. What's the alternative? Uncover the deeper reasons and the hidden influences, and highlight the real opportunities for profit. At NTD Business, we connect the dots for you. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. NTD Business. I'm Paul Green.
Are you using your phone to access news? Because a growing number of people are. But what happens when that news is controlled by a communist regime? NTD's Jeremy Sandberg found out what a former Canadian politician says about the issue.
Canada's largest Chinese-language newspaper, Singtao Daily, is ending its print edition at the end of August. The newspaper is moving to digital after printing for over 40 years. More people now look to their mobile phones for news. Former member of Canadian Parliament Kenny Chiu says many Chinese immigrants have become reliant on social media platform WeChat as their single source of information. The Tencent-owned app is dominant in China and is becoming more popular among Canadians. But news from the app is heavily filtered and censored by the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP.
According to Chinese national security law, companies will have to yield to the wishes of the government.
Chu says a lot of media on WeChat is misinformation or completely false.
When you have one source of information that comes from tightly controlled by an authoritarian regime, you have a problem.
Chu points out a diversity of sources, angles, and opinions is important in a functioning democracy.
It is important. Now that we are a bird flying in an open sky, it's important that we tried out all the other information source.
He warns Canadians of infiltration from the Chinese Communist regime.
What you read on WeChat, remember, it's all sanctioned by an authoritarian regime that generations of Chinese Canadians have fled away from, and they have persecuted many people, and they have clamped down on freedom of expression. They have controlled, a very tight control of free flow of information. And that's the kind of news that you're reading from WeChat.
Chu suggests branching out and cross-referencing news to protect against disinformation.
Check news that you receive from WeChat against Canadian sources such as Daijiyuan, or in English Epoch Times, or in other Chinese medias.
This way, Chu thinks people can safeguard their minds from being polluted and taken hostage by CCP propaganda and misinformation. Chu noted not much has been done by the Canadian government to regulate Chinese interference in Canadian media. He says other than virtue signaling, very little action is being carried out. A coalition made up of 15 organizations is putting forward a bill to Parliament in order to address the issue. It aims to enhance transparency and accountability.
Majority of the free community newspapers have been under direct control or influence of the Chinese Communist Party.
The bill is called the Foreign Influence Registry and Accountability Act. It would require all individuals and entities in working relationships with foreign governments to register with the federal government.
So I think it's about time for a government to take concrete steps to combat foreign interference. Words are cheap. I think concrete action is what our government needs to take.
The organizations hope the bill will pass later this year. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
New Zealand's borders fully reopened today. It's the first time visitors from around the world can enter since being closed due to the pandemic in 2020.
Yeah, I waited before I couldn't go here, of COVID of course. And then I heard the 31st the borders open, so I had to plan first to Australia and then straight here, the 31st. Yeah, I'm really excited. I waited for 2 years to go here, so now I'm finally here.
Really good. Like, gonna be seeing family after almost 2 years. So, yeah. And I'm gonna see my nephew for the first time.
New Zealand's borders first started reopening in February for New Zealanders. Restrictions have progressively eased since then. The process of reopening the borders ended Sunday night. Visitors who need visas and those on student visas are now allowed to return to New Zealand. Cruise ships and foreign recreational yachts can now also dock at its ports. Most visitors arriving in New Zealand still need to be vaccinated against COVID and must take 2 COVID tests after arriving, but there are no quarantine requirements.
And over in Burma, heavy rains turns a waterfall into gushes of mud. We have some stunning footage here from Burma, which is also called Myanmar. Video posted on social media shows muddy water gushing down a waterfall following heavy rains on Sunday. There were no reports of casualties, but the fire department sent rescue crews out to the worst hit areas. Residents of the area say they have never seen such serious flooding before. And coming up, England claims victory over Germany in the women's 2022 Euro final. It's a historic win for England and its first ever major title on home soil. And PGA golf competitor Liv Golf pays winner Henrik Stenson $4 million in prize money. More on that in just a few moments.
When you look at TV networks in America, a soundbite and fight-it-out culture prevails on news and commentary programs. As a Canadian, I'm fascinated with America, and I wanted to offer American thought leaders an opportunity to share their thoughts in a deep dive format, where we can explore their ideas together. And so American Thought Leaders was born. The world's most brilliant thinkers believed that open discourse was the key to greatness. However, all around the world, we see that discourse is being stifled and political agendas have subverted media. The Epoch Times launched its Global Thought Leaders program to bring back this great tradition of free thought. As the host of American Thought Leaders, every week I interview some of the most intriguing minds on the most pressing issues of our time. Be sure to check out our new episodes every week.
Welcome back. England soccer fans in South London celebrated Sunday after watching their team beat Germany in the Women's European Championship final. It's their first ever major title in front of a record crowd on home soil.
It was incredible. It was truly amazing because it only happens 4 years and Germany have won 8 times. So it was very exciting and it was a great opportunity for me to be there.
Insane, the atmosphere was just incredible.
Well, I think England looked better, to be fair, but it was a close game.
We've all seen that. And Germany was really strong. France was really strong. Spain was really, really strong, and always Sweden too. So, and even more countries. So it's not easy to win this tournament, and that's going to be next year at the World Cup too.
An extra time strike from forward Chloe Kelly secured England a 2-1 win, allowing her side to avenge their defeat by Germany in the 2009 Euro final in Helsinki. England coach Serena Wiegman became the first manager to win the Euros with 2 different nations, having led their native Netherlands to the title in 2017. A historic night for England, who opened the scoring in the 62nd minute through forward Ella Toone in front of a record attendance at Wembley Stadium. Germany suffered a blow in the warm-up as striker Alexandra Popp suffered a muscle injury. She had to drop out of the lineup and was replaced by Leah Schuler. PGA Golf's newest competitor, Liv Golf, is almost halfway through their inaugural series. This week's event saw 11 of golf's top players in the competition.
The third event of the Saudi-backed Liv Golf Invitational Series wrapped up on Sunday with Henrik Stenson taking out the $4 million top prize. The event was held at Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster. Trump was feeling the love, with fans showing their support for a Trump re-election. Stenson finished 11 under par, 2 shots clear of Dustin Johnson and Matthew Wolff. His win comes in the wake of controversy. Stenson had been dropped from his captaincy for Europe in the Ryder Cup after agreeing to play in the LIV Series. The demotion comes despite arrangements between LIV and Stenson, allowing Stenson to uphold his commitments to the Ryder Cup.
It has been a bit of a roller coaster, no question. You all seen that, and we talked about it earlier in the week. And now it's about looking forward, for me at least. And I'm super proud with the focus I managed to have this week and to get my game in. I've been working pretty hard to get the game back in shape, and it's certainly going in the right direction.
The LIV Series is luring top players away from the PGA Tour with guaranteed large payments and reduced schedule. LIV say they are invigorating the game of golf with a cutting-edge entertainment product and fair compensation for players. Critics say they are causing disruptions to the dynamics of men's professional golf. The inaugural LIV Series has 5 more events to finish the season. This is Flinders Kingsley, NTD News.
Thank you.
And in other news, a Chick-fil-A in North Carolina has been looking for so-called volunteer workers. The volunteers will be paid with chicken sandwiches and fries instead of actual wages. The store in Hendersonville posted the position on social media Tuesday, calling it, quote, a volunteer-based opportunity where drive-thru workers would be paid with 5 entrees a shift instead of money. The move generated some backlash, though. Chick-fil-A ended up taking the post down. The store manager says the offer was meant for people who think it's a good fit for them and said it was different from full or part-time employment. But a Chick-fil-A spokesperson in Atlanta says the Hendersonville store has decided to end the program.
And Japan, like many countries, has been hit by heat waves this summer, with humans and pets suffering alike. To help dogs that can't shed their fur coats to stay cool, a Tokyo clothing maker has teamed up with veterinarians to create a wearable fan just for dogs and even cats. A battery-operated, light-weighted cooling fan is attached to a special mesh outfit that blows air around the animal's body. The outfits come in 5 different sizes and are priced around $74. The president of a maternity clothing maker created the contraption after seeing her pet Chihuahua getting exhausted from the summer heat. The idea came from air-conditioned jackets for humans, often worn by construction workers and other laborers who work outside. The devices debuted in early July, and the company has received around 100 orders for the product. The idea drew several dog lovers, their canine companions, and even a cat.
Hey, Evelyn, those are some cool dogs. Get it?
Wow, good one. Okay, well.
Wait, heat exhaustion's no joke, though. Everybody, stay safe.
Stay safe. He has a point. All right. That's all for today's program. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'm Evelyn Lee.
And I'm Kevin Hogan.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Did you know YouTube only keeps selective videos on its platform? So if you want to make sure you get the full picture, just subscribe to our newsletter. Go to newsletter.ntd.com and sign up. It's free.